Jimmy, let's bring the crew up. Let's get into center stage. We're going to break down how you start your morning, sets the tone for your career and your life. And joining us is Bizarro Macklemore, Kyle Thomas, an entrepreneur and career strategist who knows a thing or two about building systems at work. His story? Yeah, he went from cubicle guy to Uber's 250th employee and later became a VP at a Y Combinator startup. Now through Up Employment, he's helping ambitious pros land dream roles at top startups faster with clarity and without burnout. His approach, he creates confidence, he cuts distractions, and he raps. He just raps like nonstop rap. And he builds frameworks.
Is that a Macklemore joke?
It's a total Macklemore joke, Marty. Exactly, yeah. And build frameworks.
Sorry, Kyle.
What's shaking, Kyle? Good to have you on the show.
What's up, brother?
It's definitely not the first time that I've been compared to Macklemore. I'm actually from Seattle, so it's a relevant comparison.
You're joining us from Seattle today, are you?
I actually live in New Jersey now, but born and raised in Seattle.
Oh, there you go. So maybe you're neighbors with Jay Malone. He just down the road lives next to Springsteen and Bon Jovi.
I saw that. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. So, hey, we got a brand new question. We are asking every single guest on our show. Moving forward, the most important question, which is this. I'm going to move to this camera over here. How do you start your day? How's your morning? What's your morning routine? And if there's no morning routine, tell us. Because we own mornings here in the lab. And we believe that for you to have a successful day, you've got to start it with a kick-ass morning. So Kyle Thomas, how do you start your morning? When's the alarm clock go off? Do you hit the snooze button? Inspire us, inspire Business Athlete Nation with your morning routine. Kyle Thomas.
All right. Yeah. Alarm went off this morning at 5:30 in the morning. Woke up, went downstairs, coffee was brewed, and I've got 3 kids, a 7-year-old, a almost 5-year-old, and a almost 2-year-old. And so it went straight into breakfast and lunches and trying to get everybody ready for the day before this. Yeah, oftentimes I'll try to do a quick core workout, a little meditation, and then get the kids all ready to rock and roll by 8 o'clock in the morning.
Nice. Marty, I see you down there and you're expressing, you're like, oh, I see how that's your morning starts. Marty, I know you're just looking forward to that one day in life, aren't you, Marty?
Oh, absolutely. And I got a client who has 3 daughters, so similar ages too. And she's always distraught. So I can only imagine what your morning is like, what you're going through.
Yeah, organized chaos. I think that I was listening to the show this morning and talking about planning and stuff like that. I was like, I should really just plan out all the meals. I should really just have the breakfast ready to pop in every morning, and it would be so much easier.
That right there, your formula for success in parenting. Everything was done the night before.
Yeah. That's why we get a message.
That's it. So Kyle, to John's point, I got not to throw into the bus, just gonna ask you the honest question. Why don't you?
Yeah, there's no excuse.
So Marty, at around 3-4 o'clock this afternoon, the kids are gonna come home this evening, and Kyle's gonna be going through his day, and he's thinking, fuck, man, Billis is making me think about getting ready for tomorrow. And now Johnny's in my head thinking about getting ready for tomorrow. So I'm betting, guys, this evening, Kyle Thomas is gonna have a moment in his head thinking about John's head, Marty's head, my head, and he's gonna prepare for tomorrow, John Anderson.
Kyle, as soon as I think of it like this, you're either going to do it tonight or you're going to do it tomorrow morning. And you're going to have a lot more serenity doing it tonight. It's almost like you get to make a choice what kind of life you want to lead. Because as you said, it's organized chaos. If you can organize it even more and bring more serenity and joy to your life, why not make that simple switch? Because it's not like you're going to save time and you're going to bring quality to your life and your kids. They're going to learn preparing is what helps them become successful. They learn from that shit. My kids, their clothes was laid out the night before. Everything was like, it would just wake up and just turnkey.
Yeah, Kyle, we're all about raising a generation of neurotic people on this show. We really want to get a bunch of ADHD and ABCD kids.
But what it really did for my kids, though, is because that organized chaos, they carry that to school. And so when they have a serene morning, they show up to school in a better frame of mind. Like I actually, at one point, one of them was having trouble when she went to middle school because that's when really the social shit gets heavy. So I started taking them for a quick jog to get them feeling good. So they showed up to school even sharper. So I just felt like it was a duty as a parent to do the best that I could. If I wasn't doing what I knew was best for them, it felt like I was fucking up.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, so Kyle, mornings set the tone for the entire day. Let's be frank, it does, right? How we start up, how the night ends before, but it's not just about what you do. It's about what you decide not to do. I know I'm always saying yes. Johnny's always saying yes. Mark, because we're always saying yes, but what you learn, often we have to say no to a bunch of things before we can say yes. So Kyle, how do you think the way that leaders make decisions, especially in the morning, impacts their long-term success?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that ultimately, I don't know, it's like the cliche example of like plan to, what is it, fail to plan and plan to fail. I think that if you go in, we were just talking about this in the personal side, but if you take the same approach from a business perspective, whether you're a full-time employee or a business owner and you're just like entering into the day, you haven't checked your calendar, you don't know what meetings you have coming up, you're not 100% sure what the metrics were for the different things that you were supposed to be monitoring or the different key critical areas in the business, and you can like jump into the day and look at your calendar for the first time and like just get that cortisol and anxiety going immediately just because you're trying to catch up already, that's a recipe for disaster. And so the more that you can identify what's coming up and plan for that, and maybe even do a little bit of it the night before, that's going to set you up for success, because then you're going to be cool, calm, collected. You're going to be able to understand exactly where you need to be at the different stages, who you need to reach out to, where the different, like I said, the different metrics are. And then again, if you're an employee, you could be communicating that proactively to your managers or to the folks who run the company. Or if you are the business owner, then you can communicate that effectively to the folks who own the levers for those different metrics.
Yeah, we have Patricia joining us some comments. The day starts with the night before. What do you do the day before so you can start with a great morning? Hey, Kyle, employee number 250 at Uber, 24/7 company, global. What was that like working at Uber? And were they a morning culture business, or were they a 24/7 business? Like when you worked there, talk about the power of mornings within that Uber environment, Kyle Thomas.
So that's something that I actually coach people on in the business that I run now as folks are looking for their next startup role. Because so the previous job that I was in was this cubicle data entry job. And I was living in Seattle at the time. I'd wake up in the dark. I'd have to put on a suit and tie. I'd drive down to SeaTac Airport. I'd sit in a cubicle. I'd enter data all day. It was just like awful, soul-sucking work. And it was like waking up to the alarm, hitting that snooze button. It was like pulling teeth to get me into the office. And contrast that with where I was when I moved to New York City. So I quit that job, moved to New York City, landed this job as an early Uber employee. I was waking up way earlier than I did in Seattle. I was trying to be the first person into the office to open the door to get my work done. And then I was staying many nights until 11 p.m. We were working weekends and things like that. But like the thing that I always say is it wasn't like people crap on hustle culture. It wasn't like that anybody was forcing us to do this or we were like necessarily burning out. Everyone was just so excited about what we were building and the impact that we were having and the product that we were creating. And so it was less like I think that the standard person probably got in at we opened the doors to the drivers back then at about 9 a.m. because we did all in-person driver support. We did all that kind of stuff live. And so, yeah, it was really around the clock, right? There was no customer support team. We were answering hundreds of tickets from riders and drivers every single day or every single week. And so we were doing everything.
Wow, that's crazy. Just literally just at that early stage, just doing what you got to do to get the job done, man. That's really cool. And real quick, Kyle, I also want to make sure when I was ranting on parenting, that was supposed to come across as inspiration and motivational, not what the hell are you doing? So forgive me if it came across that way.
No, I hear it. A lot of it resonated. So
because you struck me as a kind of a competitive guy. So I figured sometimes a little bit of a swift approach works well with a guy like you, as I can see that hustler, that competitor in you.
Hey, Kyle, so Uber, highly competitive, highly aggressive, highly successful organization. You worked with a lot of leaders within Uber along the way, and of course, many today. In your experience, Kyle, do leaders always need to hit the ground running? Or as you age and as you become a father and as you go through businesses and starting your company and working with different leaders along the way, is there power in taking a more intentional, slower start to the day? Because we're a big fan here on this show of finding what works best for you. The common principle is it starts in the morning. Get your ass up, get going, attack the day. Some might say the more intentional, slower start is better. Where's your POV on this, Kyle?
Yeah, there's a fantastic quote. I remember I read Rich Roll's book called Finding Ultra. And in that book, his coach, he was training for these ultra marathons and he hired a coach. And the quote that the coach told him was that it's not the fastest man who wins the race, it's the one who slows down the least. And I think that's true in your career. It's true particularly in entrepreneurship. It's true for those high-powered leaders. If you're trying to sprint constantly, everything is an urgent issue, then you're going to burn out. That's just like a recipe for burnout if you're redlining constantly. And so you have to understand how to balance the speed and tackling the priorities while also taking care of your health, while also taking care of your sleep, while also taking care of your family life. because I ran into something like that. I started this business. I just had my third child. And I think it was like the stress that ultimately hospitalized me while I was trying to like juggle all the balls. And so there is definitely something to be said about maintaining a fast pace, but a steady pace that you can keep over the long term, that you're not going to have to go super hills and super valleys, because then you have to restart once you crash, particularly if you're in the early stages of entrepreneurship. The business is just, you're critical to the business. And so you can't have these massive peaks and massive valleys.
All right, here, go ahead, John.
So good. Yeah, no, I was going to say that's so good, because when I'm coaching my clients, I say, look, if you get yourself caught into the point where you're going too fast and you realize, holy shit, I can't maintain this pace, pull back on the throttle and make sure you don't do anything less than a walk. You got to keep walking, keep moving forward, because you'll get your breath back and you'll find a new pace that you can keep. And that's the key. Never stop. I love that message, brother. That's so good.
Great message.
Just keep those feet moving forward. And here at the end of the day, it's not about perfect routines, nation. Not at all. It's about building those habits that fit where you are right now. Right where you are right now might not be where you are tomorrow, but to Johnny's point, you got to start moving in a direction that'll get you to where you want to be tomorrow. What works today might not work next quarter, and that's okay. Because what we know, nation, success isn't static. No, it's about adjusting, iterating, refining, and staying open to change. Dismiss, Producer Flynn, the artificial urgency, right? Your mornings don't need to unlock and look like anyone else's. They just need to work for your way. And hey, with no month coming around the corner, what you might want to consider right now, it's about not adding new habits. It's about getting rid of some of the ones you already had. Say no to something now so you can say yes to something tomorrow. But right now, we're going to say yes to this. See Marty Fit Tip. Chris, you got something related for our this athlete nation to think about?